Hello, I'm Pastor Carl Johnston with the United Church of Hayworth. We have, for the months of 2021, been focusing on different aspects of staying in love with God. Back in 1739, John Wesley began to meet with groups of people who were interested in staying in love with God and seeking to be better followers of Jesus Christ. Out of those meetings, he developed the three general rules: do no harm, do good, stay in love with God. Well, actually, Mr. Wesley wrote it in the Book of Discipline as, thirdly, attend upon the ordinances of God. And then he lists them: the public worship of God, the ministry of word, either read or expounded, the supper of the Lord, family and private prayer, searching the scriptures, fasting, or abstinence. So for the month of April, we're going to be focusing on worship. Why do we do that? Why do God's people do that? Why have they always done it? We're going to be looking each and every Thursday morning together at this topic of worship for about 3 to 5 minutes. Well, first of all, the book of Hebrews tells us that we should forsake not the assembly of ourselves together. While it's true that we as American Christians are frequently told that we need to have a personal relationship with God, which is true, we also need to have a corporate relationship with God, that we are not in this all by ourselves. It is amazing how many times sometimes it just feels like you and me against the world. But having a church family, having a group of other believers who come alongside of you to worship together. Sometimes there are folks in the church who have different talents, abilities, skills than you do. And so they add to your worship experience of God. Now, there are some people who can't sing to carry a tune in a bucket. There are some people who can't play a musical instrument. But praise God for those people who can, because they enhance our worship. There are people who can arrange flowers, and they can organize things, and they can run meetings, and they can do all sorts of things to make the church a better place. There are folks who honestly and consistently count the money in the offering and do all sorts of things to make our worship go beyond the four walls in that 1 hour. Our worship of God is, first of all, directed at God. It is for the benefit of God. It's not about us. And sometimes that's hard for a lot of people to understand. Rick Warren, in his book, The Purpose-Driven Life, his opening line is, "It's not about you." Worship is not about you. Worship can benefit you, build you up, but our worship should really be about God. It is interesting that one of the ways that worship is defined, it means to kiss the hand or to lick the hand. So let me see if I can give you a good illustration for this. Have you ever been sitting in a chair and a dog comes up to you, maybe your own dog, or if you're visiting somebody, their dog, and they start to lick your hand? Now, normally it happens when you're the person who feeds the dog, waters the dog, takes care of the dog. The dog will come up and begin to lick your hand. When a dog is licking your hand, you are being worshiped by that dog, because everything good comes from the master's hand. The food, the water, the affection, cleaning up the messes, it all comes from the master's hand, from the pet owner's hand. In the same way, we come to church to worship God, who has provided for us so abundantly, who will clean up our messes and give us affection and remind us just how loved we are. So, we worship together because there is a God who loves us and cares about us more than we could ever understand. Worship is an expression of our love for God. That's why we come to church. That's why we sing the songs. That's why we listen to the sermons, because we're trying to express our love for God. And that's something for you to think about.